Or this is the, oh, you don't want the agenda. This sheet.
All right, well, welcome here. Present are Fred, Sean, Sheila, Ross, and George as our guests. And Jen as a guest, sorry, Jen.
Your activity. And someone else.
And so we are calling to order. I hear some footsteps. I'm just gonna wait a moment, and it is Jim present. Jim is here now too. Okay. So we're calling to order and we'd like to review the agenda at this point.
So I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda and put voting on co-chairs to the agenda. I need a second.
I second. All
Any discussion?
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so moved.
Hello.
Oh,
Hi.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ending the.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
yes. Jack Gertie, new alternate, I guess?
I'm Ross.
Yes.
Ross, hi.
Me, and I'm George Branton, I'm also an alternate, but not until I'm sworn in.
Oh, good. We're
Non-disclosure,
the freshmen.
so I'm new.
Very good. Sean, hey, Tim, and
I'm Sheila.
Sheila, hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We just amended the agenda to take a vote on, it's been moved and seconded to appoint new co-chairs.
Okay.
So I move to have Sean and Sheila be co-chairs of the Affordable Housing Commission.
A second?
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anthony, please have the
Didn't
seat.
you just start 5 o'clock? 5:02.
502.
Oh, you went off for drinks then, I mean, we're done. Just not there, this is a lead also. Just so you know. I have. So.
Unless we need you in a corner.
Sean,
And then you.
Sorry, did we vote on it? Was approved?
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Anthony,
Thank you.
so we just moved second and voted on to have Sean and Sheila be our new co-chairs. Just to bring you up to, yes. Okay, so
Could you say, all right, see how
congratulations,
you feel about that at the end of this meeting? And, okay. I'm kidding.
congratulations
Thank you.
to our new co-chairs.
Thank you.
And I will be staying on the commission, but at the discretion and appointment of our new co-chairs.
But you're not going anywhere.
And so at this point, I turn it over to our new co-chairs to run the meeting.
All right, well, I'm going to be a little bit unorthodox. And Sean's gonna decide at the end of this if he really wants to co-chair with me or not. But we are a new group, a fairly new group, and there are people who have been doing this. And been a part of the Affordable Housing Commission, and there are those of us who have been doing it for a little bit and still have so much to learn. And then we have people who are brand new to this this committee. So with that, I'm going to propose that we just start with a little bit of information about ourselves. And I'm going to ask that you know, tell us just a little bit about you. You grew up in Old Lyme, you raised your family here, you've been here for 6 months, whatever history you'd like to share with us. And I'd also like you to answer the question, what brings you the most joy
In life.
in life? Permanently, because that can change from time to time. So, since starting this off, I'll start it off. So my name is Sheila Riffle, and I have lived in Connecticut since 1999. I have been in Old Lyme for 9 years now. And I will never leave Old Lyme. I absolutely love it here. My wife and I find that we just are extremely fortunate. People have been fantastic. We've gotten to know so many neighbors and just ways in which you live by the shoreline. And we just absolutely love being here. And something that brings me joy, and I'm coming right off of it because I just got back late last night from a work trip. I'm the advisor for a National Student Advisory Council. So I have 16 high school students from 15 different states. And this past weekend through yesterday was this cohort's last in-person meeting together. So the seniors are moving on, and then the juniors will bring in rising juniors in April. But they just fill my soul. And I just came home so exhausted and full of energy from that. So that absolutely brings me joy.
Nice.
All right.
Go to Ken.
Oh,
Let him go.
All right.
Jim, thanks for prayer. Okay.
Ken Garrity. I lived overseas for a lot of years, London, Berlin, Czech Republic. Came to visit my brother, who's been here since 1992, 3, 4, somewhere in there, and ended up staying. So I've been here since 14. Had a short stint on a farming situation because we were going to buy the farm from White Creek Farm from Pauline, but she changed her mind, if you know Pauline. Then other than that, before that, I was investment banking with Lehman Brothers in London. And before that, Rockefeller Group, working with the Rockefellers in their management of the mega projects and real estate they have there. What brings me great joy. I used to be a mountain bike racer, so I raced mountain bikes all over Africa, Switzerland, Czech Republic, Germany, Croatia, and kind of hung up my bikes. I haven't ridden for a long time. So now I say my dogs. I know it's pretty cliche, but
Not at all. Not
I
at all.
love my dogs. Anyway, that's it.
That's lovely.
My name is Jimmy. We're actually neighbors. I lived in Old Lyme. I'm from Norwich originally. I went to NFA, and then I lived in Boston and Pittsburgh, and then moved here, built our house on Manswood 10 years ago with my uncle, who's a local guy. I have some family here, which is why I always wanted to move back here. I'm a developer by trade and by training. What brings me joy? I have 2 children who go to, now they're both at the middle school, which is really nice. They're not at 2 different schools. They bring me joy, but also this is my first time being a dad, obviously, and learning how to be a really good dad it's hard, but it brings me joy. So
I'm Ross Higgins. I think I introduced everyone. I moved to Old Lyme in December 17. I lived in Westchester County, suburban New York, just north of the Bronx for about 40 years. And then when my husband and I were planning to retire, the place that I loved being and raising my kids all of a sudden felt very claustrophobic. I couldn't figure out what am I going to do all day if I'm not going to work. And so we looked from Guilford to Stonington. We do 0 other than seeing it from Amtrak. Oh, that looks nice. Not one person, no reason, no relatives, no history, nothing. And then one day you see a house and you say, oh, I'll take that house. That was how it was with us. I live on Johnny Cake. I worked for a Rockefeller organization too. I worked for an organization that operates historic sites along the Hudson. It's in Botanical Hills. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Started by Lawrence and David in the 50s. And now what brings me joy are my grandchildren, particularly, and I'm really want to talk to you. I have a 16-year-old grandson in the throes of the college process, and only I would get joy out of this, like the parents are pulling their hair out. He was a basket case, he's getting better now. But for me, it's like, oh, I can research this all day long. Anyway, I'm very happy to be in line, happy to participate here. Also very happy. This is the only meeting I have that starts at 5 PM and I'm really excited that it's a 5 PM start. So please don't change.
Thank you.
Yeah, good.
I'm George Frampton. I moved here 5 years ago from Washington DC. I started out a long time ago as a litigating lawyer, civil rights lawyer, but most of my professional life has been doing environmental work in a number of different places. I worked in the federal government for one 8-year stint, the Clinton administration, and a couple of other half-time stints as a special prosecutor. A couple of environmental organizations, one of which I started, which didn't go very far in the last Trump administration, since it was to promote carbon pricing. And even though I just moved here, I came here in part because my wife's mother has been living here for 35 years and had Lyme and here, and so we spent time here, and we're the beneficiaries of a very interesting network of people that we had come to meet and she had met over that period of time. So it's not exactly like moving to a completely new town. And I actually, the last 5 years, I've continued to run a small group of people at a nonprofit think tank in Washington called the Atlantic Council, doing international climate work, cooperation with Europe. So you can imagine that the future of that work is pretty much up in the air right now, how much I'm going to continue to do that and continue to go to Washington, which is in various ways quite so nice as it was 15 years ago, or 20 when I've been there. And I'm really fortunate to have first two grandchildren all in the last 4 months. I have a son who's a lawyer in Washington and a son who's an architect in Brooklyn. And their wives, respective wives, each had daughters, one in October and one 4 weeks ago. So I've suddenly learned about what it's like to be the person who's actually FaceTiming with your children and grandchildren. And it's very special.
That's great. Congratulations.
First of all, I want to let you know, I'm not sick. I've never had COVID. This is to keep me from getting sick or getting you sick, so don't be alarmed by the mask. My name's Anthony Vasilio, and I was born and raised in Middletown, Connecticut. Relocated to Old Lyme about 10.5 years ago. We enjoyed the shoreline. Was attracted to the ambience of and the traditions and history of Old Lyme, and we like going to the beach. So those were all attractions for us. My career-wise is I have a public service career. Worked in Washington DC for a number of years. Sold my last home and moved back to Connecticut 44 years ago after being there for about 13 years in DC, working for cabinet level people and on the Hill for a while. And have a public and private. So I've served in a number of different capacities in public realm and also in the private realm in high-tech business. So I've kind of blended two careers together. My passion is housing. And I have been an executive director of a housing authority in Connecticut for 29 years consecutive, and currently serve on the National Board of Governors for the largest housing organization in the country, which is called National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials, and the regional board, which I just left the conference, and the state chapter. So I have positions at all 3 levels of the organization, and have committed a good part of my life to providing housing opportunities to people who are disabled and extremely low income. Please never use the word affordable housing. I won't get into it. I'm a public houser. I take care of the most fragile and the most indigent people in Connecticut and in our society. And my great joy in life is that simple one. That's a woman that I've been with for over half a century, married most of those years, 4 kids, very successful. At 7, and we just found out last Friday, probably our 8th and most likely the final grandchild. So family is very important. And we've been blessed with great kids who've done very well for themselves. And the grandkids seem to be headed on the right road, you know? So that's my joy in life.
Okay, thanks.
Fred Pennion, recently retired emergency physician, past life real estate attorney. Long ago, I worked for the Maine State Housing Authority. But I lived here since 98. I raised our kids here. And my joy is my wife, my children, and being outside. Doing almost anything. So,
All right.
of course, affordable housing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Jen, you're up.
Hello, Jen.
I was
We wanna hear
guess you
about
want to know my
your
tour
joy.
had passed, even though I'm leaving. You should have asked me this before. Oh, well, I'm just going back a little bit. I'm surprised that people are so new to Old Lyme. It seems like I've known you around. Yeah, we moved here in 2000 from Memphis, Tennessee, which we were only in there 9 months. Previous to that in Bayonne, New Jersey, where I worked for Pfizer in Manhattan and Pfizer in Memphis, and then Pfizer relocated me up to New London when they opened that space. And so we've been here since 2001. Two boys who are now in their mid-20s and both military. One's getting out to be a commercial pilot, but the other one is in the Air Force. And I'm ex-military. My ex-husband's ex-military. We have a long line of military people in our family on both sides. But anyhow, I've lived in 14 places. I've lived in 6 countries, not military. My father was with the State Department. So one of those cities being DC. I heard that a couple of times come up. We lived in Fairfax, though, in McLean. And so been moving a lot. Old Lyme is actually the longest place I've ever stayed in one place. So which would be now
Nice.
coming up on 24 years. So but I am, as you might have heard, I am going to move to North Carolina as my primary residence, but I'm still maintaining my residence in Connecticut in Old Lyme because it's so cute and I can't get away from the people there. And Joy, really, I've for those of you who don't know, I was on the board of Habitat for Humanity for 6 years, building houses with them with Pfizer builds and women builds and veteran builds before that. That's how I got on the board there. And then once I rotated off, I've just been in touch with them doing a few things, a couple of builds here and there. But as they've expanded and the need has become greater with the Norwich area, and I don't know if you know, but Habitat also has expanded into Windham County. So they actually manage New London County and Windham County as far as Habitat affiliates go. And so, just I think one of the biggest things besides my family and golf that bring me great joy are really working on these houses with the future homeowners, the homeowners that will be in the house. They do have to put in like 400 hours of work on the houses themselves, and it's really nice to see their children if they have them, and the parents, or a lot of times it's a single mom with kids and that kind of thing. So it's nice to see them, get to know them, and and see that they're going to have a safe place to live, and kind of jumpstart their future with this affordable housing. So that's been really happening for me. And I'm actually going to Habitat, Craven County Habitat for Humanity orientation tomorrow morning to join their build next week here in New Bern, North Carolina. So keeping it going.
Nice. Oh, good for you. Thanks. Thanks for sharing.
No problem. Thanks for asking.
Mhm.
I'm newer to Old Lyme as well, it's either 2 or 3 years, can't remember. I live up by Mark Comstock, the hydrangea place, that's usually where I tell people. I live there with my husband, my daughter. My daughter probably brings me my greatest joy most days. I know as we progress, there will be more days she will challenge. She definitely learns from her parents to challenge at times. worked in senior living for 20 years, running nursing homes or assisted livings or independent livings. And entered the nonprofit world almost 5 years ago, which is a little bit different. And actually gonna be starting work at Mary Wade in New Haven tomorrow. A new nonprofit, going from the country, out of the country to inner city. I consider affordable housing what they have. They just 4 years ago, they built an assisted living in the memory care, and they have not been able to fill it yet. That makes no sense because there's such a need.
Yeah.
But I grew up out in Canterbury, past Norwich, out in the woods. And always knew I wanted to come to the shoreline. We used to live in Stonington Mystic, got too busy. So we really like Old Lyme and we like the way that Old Lyme is. We don't want Old Lyme to become Mystic.
All right, well, thank you all. Thank you for taking the time to do that. I really do think, just in the experiences that I've had over the years, those of us who can play well together, definitely can work well together, and it's helpful to know a little bit about each other. Like, I didn't know that you were an ER doctor. Never knew that. I mean, there's no reason for me to have known that. But now I know, and like with Jen, the whole habitat thing, no idea. And why aren't you chairing this committee? Hello, like, I'm just like, wow, this is great to learn all these things.
I'm a carryover, you probably know, and I've been an alternate
Yeah.
forever.
Yes.
But I will say this, and part of it is that I still work, and I'm just now trying to find a replacement for myself, so. As Jen knows and Fred knows, it was very difficult for me to get here, because I work about 12 hours a day. And I'm relishing the opportunity, I'm trying to find someone to take over, and it's proving to be difficult. So I plan on having more time, enjoying to come to the meetings, and I couldn't really commit that I'd be here, so I never sought that. And I think we had great people. I mean,
Oh, I was just gonna, and I was being.
Jen and others, many
That
people,
was next.
did
yeah.
great jobs here, you know, and, so I'm, it's okay, I gave my time, put my 2 cents in, and have enjoyed it immensely. Thank you.
Well, and thank you, because that's a nice segue. I do want to take a minute to thank Jen and Fred. They have been, I think, Jen, you've been on this committee since it originated, haven't you? And Fred, have you been on that long? No. Well, it seems like it, as you know a lot. So between the two of them, and the work that they've done over the years, they've really carved out what it is we need to be able to move forward and develop some opportunities for people in housing, in the housing market. And it's a lot of red tape that you've been covering, and Jen's been running every single meeting, and Fred's doing stuff behind the scenes when we're not in meetings, and it's a lot of work. And I just want to thank you both for that. We're gonna try not to have you on speed dial too much, but thank you. Okay, so let's get into it, and no, I know. I was looking over here and I forgot that that's not the agenda. Do you want to pass that
We're
around?
just gonna pass this around. If you could just fill in your phone number,
Sure.
next to your name.
All right. What's that? Sorry.
I was trying to find the agenda on my
Okay.
phone, sorry.
Oh, okay, that's all right. All right, so,
Sheila, can I just say,
yes.
I'll send you the kind of the running list of the members and stuff with their emails and everything. I'll shoot that over to you just now.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. All right, so we haven't really gone over the agenda because we jumped in with, yeah, you don't think? All right, I'm down with that.
It is what it is.
All right, so we do have guests here at the meeting, and just want to see if any of our guests have any public comment they would like to make this time.
Do we have any guests here?
Well,
Technically,
technically, Anthony, is considered a guest because he's not,
George.
Anthony, George.
Oh, Anthony and George, my
And
bad.
Jen,
My bad.
our, Jen's guest, because she's no longer on the committee, and then their guest, because they didn't get sworn in yet.
And Ken didn't get sworn in.
No, you
Oh,
did.
you did, sorry. That's right.
But we'll still let them
Huh?
talk.
Yes.
I was sworn in, but I have to swear again, you know,
All right, so hearing none, we are going to move on to the approval of the minutes from both December and January. Did everybody get a chance, everybody who was here, get a chance to look at those minutes?
I didn't. I was thinking that I was approving February and February is not there, so. February, yes.
So it would be anybody who was here for
I'll
those
move
meetings.
to, approve
Oh,
the
I
minutes.
can't, because I was not a member. Yeah,
That's okay. Okay,
I'll make the motion.
great. We have a motion. Anyone second?
Second.
Thank you. Fred, any discussion about those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the minutes for both December and January, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Or abstentions? I think those would be obvious. All right, motion passes. Moving on, we're gonna start with old business. And I say old business just in terms of these are generally the ongoing topics, and I am going to open it up to Fred and or Jen to give us some information, or even Sean, around the River Cog, CCM cost materials, anything that we have on that.
I would ask Jen to, give us an update.
Okay? All right, Jen, are you
Sure,
good
I'll
with
get
that?
myself. Yeah, sure, no problem. So I
Great,
sent out the materials from two meetings. One is from the River Cog Regional Housing Meeting. So it's the River Cog Subcommittee called called Regional Housing. So the Regional Housing Meeting is the one that meets that fourth Tuesday at 2 o'clock each month, run by Eliza Lopresti. So we had a presentation by a consultant. I believe she's a consultant, not an employee, from Department of Housing. And that was Megan Jofflo. I don't know how you say her last name, but Jofflo's. Anyhow, that was attached to the agenda email that I sent out. If you have had a chance to look through that, and then the Friday last week was the CCM meeting, very similar content to both of them, but they're both there for you to read. There's also the CCM meeting was recorded and they put it up on YouTube. So there's a link to that whole 1.5 hour-ish kind of meeting there. But the gist of it for right now, for our purposes, is really the mandatory deadlines. So they've cemented 3 particular deadlines in place. And those revolve around that allocation that we talked about before, about basically how many affordable housing units will Old Lyme need to put in place under this new legislation, which is now, because it's not a bill anymore, it's a law. It's called Public Act 25-1. So when you see PA 25-1, that's the old HB 8002, just put into practice now as for execution. So those important dates, really, the first one coming up will be the end of the year, December 1st. That's when the state will decide what allocation to give to River Cog, to all the cogs, but in our case, River Cog. So the state will, by December 1st, 2026, hand that number down to River Cog. The next date, so we won't, we'll have too much to do with that, but in the interim, River Cog is going to be having these meetings where they're getting hints, they're getting, they're in the loop basically with OPM and the Department of Housing and CCM and cost, a lot of groups involved, but they're involved with them as far as interactions. They share consultants in a couple places, so they're both on both teams or groups that are meeting weekly or bi-monthly. And so we'll be hearing, River Cog will be hearing at least, what's up with that before December. We'll get a sense, is it like 1,000 or is it 200, or, kind of what's the ballparky range that River Cog is going to get. And the person that's the representative for the regional housing group of Rivercog from this commission will probably need to stay active with that because that's their number one topic this year, as you can imagine, is getting ready for next year, 2027, which is when Rivercog will have to allocate to Old Lyme and each of its towns what amount of units that town, the municipality is responsible for building. So that is June 1st of 2027. I believe I got that right. Yeah, June 1st of 2027. And on June 1st, 2027, it shouldn't be a surprise because for a year and a half, we'll be following along with Rivercog and we'll know in December what they got and we'll kind of then be working with Rivercog to get an idea of what, ours will be versus the other towns. So that Rivercog connection, they consider themselves the steering committee for, the regional housing group is the steering committee for implementation of PA 125 or 25-1, sorry. And so that's what they called themselves last week was the steering committee for implementation. So we'll need to stay in close touch with them. Our zoning representative on that group is still, I think, Michael Fogliano. So he knows both the housing side and now he's immersed in the zoning side. So that's a benefit as well if your commission wants to stay very tightly knit with zoning, of course. Michael would be the great contact to have, on that board. So moving on, then it will come as no surprise on June 1st next year. We're going to get this number. The town of Old Lyme will then have 30 days from that point. So till July 1st, let's say, of 2027 to either join with Rivercog and say, we accept this number and your approach, and this is how we'll go along with you. Or the town of Old Lyme can go on their own path and appeal that number or put forth reasons why they cannot do that number or some other different approach. Maybe Rivercog is following some kind of algorithm that Old Lyme just doesn't agree with, or maybe they've come up with a different methodology for what developable land has been identified and that kind of thing. There could be a number of reasons, but anyhow, there'll be 30 days where the first select woman will have to, get back to Rivercog and say yay or nay, we're going to do this or not with you guys. If it'll open up a whole nother stream of work if we don't go with Rivercog, and you'll be working directly with OPM and the Department of Housing at the state level to then pursue your own path. Which will still be the path, and you still have to do everything, but it'll just be on your own instead of with the supported consultancy of Rivercog and their paid for consultants by the state. So then the next most important date, or the next mandatory date that's been put out so far. Remember, these are the high level dates that are set in stone now. Interim dates could appear later. Is the following July 2028, which is when the revision to what is now called our 830J plan, which is posted on our website there, which is called our housing plan or our affordable housing plan or the 830J plan. That is going to be revised and they're now going to be referred to as the housing growth plan. So the housing growth plan is the same as the 830J plan, but it will have to incorporate the targets and the dates and the mandatory items that OPM will be handing down to us as to what XYZ ABC needs to be in that plan. And that will be 2028. So that will be due in July of 2028. And those are the 3 dates right now that they've set in stone. Everything else is still floating around. Anthony, you had a question?
Yeah, you hit on one of them. I don't want to put you in a bad position, but the algorithm, this allocation was extremely controversial at the state legislature, whether you're in housing or not.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not following the Yale algorithm. Rivercog can decide their own, however they want to do it. Yeah.
And then the other thing is I'm concerned about is that as far as I know, and although it might have changed, it could be evolving forward, you have a static number, which we don't even know what that number is, because it's already dated. And yet,
The original number, not from the legislation, but from the 2022 study is 400 for Old Line.
yeah, there was a number, I just, and
Four
I
twenty-two.
think anyone that's reasonable and prudent knows there's some questions around that number, but here's the problem, these static numbers are not dynamic. And I don't believe the state Department of Housing has any capacity, certainly the legislature doesn't, have capacity to constantly remodel it. Because, I mean, literally thousands and thousands of units, tens of thousands of units are going up by the big for-profits. I mean, Middletown threw up 400 units. Just boom, it's unbelievable. And, I mean, I know places that are putting, you know, a diner leaves and 88 or 100 units are being packed into small areas, like in Milford, where, you know, I'm involved. But there doesn't seem to be a mechanism, or maybe there is, that says, okay, the dynamic model, you know, we need it. And I still don't really understand the 100,000 and it flexes around, you know, now it's over 120 and our population hasn't grown, but that's a whole nother discussion. I don't want to go off on that.
Yeah.
But what are they doing to make it a dynamic model and to remodel it as opposed
Yeah,
to throwing
I've
out
said-
numbers, they're stacked?
Yeah, it's a interesting question, Anthony. The short answer is none of that has been discussed at all. These targets are not targets to be met by anytime soon. So in the 5-year plan that's due in 2028, remember, so this will be 30 something before 33 before it's actually the 5-year plan that we put out in 28 is actually realized. That plan just during those 5-year period, you need to show progress. So demonstrate progress towards your stated goal. So that goal can't keep moving if, you know, you have a plan and you have 5 years to make progress, whatever that means, that has not been defined yet, progress against that goal in 5 years. 10 years is the horizon they're talking about where it has been fully implemented. That target that they received 10 years earlier in 38, you know, needs to be fulfilled. So there's no talk about revising it every year as we go along.
Because see,
Yes.
this plan, the state's not funding it all. I know they put up over 800 million, but the federal resource, I can tell you, are in tremendous jeopardy. And so when you're depending on this cash flow and tax credits and other benefits to be flowing out of Washington, that may not be true. Because even the public housing industry is in big trouble relative to some proposals, huge trouble.
Yeah.
So again, the state just assumes all this is gonna stay as is. And I'm very concerned, and most people in my industry are very concerned it's not. So that could have a big impact because you can't fill gaps in. If you
Sure.
can't financing or layered financing to be.
Sure.
make
Well,
this
we'll
stuff
worry
happen.
about that.
Right,
All,
as a
all we
developer,
need
we
to worry
know.
about right now is next year, and getting
Okay.
that sorted out. There's a couple of things in between that they're gonna give us this year. OPM, that is gonna hand down to the town of Old Lyme, well, Rivercog to the town of Old Lyme. And one of them is around this, developable land piece. So in the, Public Act, you'll see that there's a section 4, which refers to, the town identifying all potential developable land. And so whether or not they have they have right now private and public lands for the use of the publics or private land for the use of the public and public lands are excluded. There's some, there seemed to be a little consternation about like, could you just please clarify that, you know, and that kind of thing. So if we have like our open space, our land trust land, et cetera, you know, is that developable land really, or is that really already privately owned because it's owned by the town, or is it owned by people, you know? So there's still some argument over that, but there's a tool that they're supposed to give you, which is once they further clarify that, that is basically, it's supposed to be identifying developable land. But what the consultant said was that it's more of like a GIS tool. I'm not sure that we haven't already seen that and used that back when we were doing the 830J plans, but we'll see what it is. Hopefully it's more improved than what, just a regular GIS register will give us, because we already did that. And so that's one of the tools. They also have consulting support at the River Cog level, the regional housing level. So those are paid full-time employees, basically contractors that will be working there to help the towns with their implementation. Again, only if you opt in to the River Cog model next year. If you opt out, you're on your own. The other thing about opting out is that if you have not gotten your plan in by 2028 and it's been approved, you're not eligible for things like improvements to school districts, and they're talking about withholding financial funds from those towns at a greater rate than other towns. Put it that way. They're not saying they're not going to fund the schools. They're just saying they could withhold funds at a greater rate than other towns that do opt in or that do follow the mandate, basically. There was one other thing. Well, I got to put on my
Jen.
glasses. Yep. Oh,
Jen.
wastewater. Yep.
So that last component is probably the only, or not the only, one of the three meaningful components to this entire bill. Because it actually has some potential to have like teeth or budgetary impact here with our school system and all other school systems. Has there been any more information about that? Like what they mean, or is it
Not at
real?
all. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I would say it would be real if all things remain the same, 3 years from now. So, I mean, you know how things can change with the government stuff, but if everything remains the same, their intention right now is to use that as a carrot, to have towns follow the mandate for what they say. So follow PA 25 explicitly. Who knows what it will be in a couple of years.
Again, if you read the 2022 plan, there's a map on there where they try to identify in Old Line what's developable, what's not, and different. So they've done some of the work, but their recommendation of saying there needs to be 400 in that report, it also says that's not possible here.
Yeah.
So this is supposed to be more realistic, we'll see.
Yeah.
Developable land is like, that's like, I don't know what the equivalent
It
word
says
is.
there's
It's
about
like,
20% of the current space back in 2022 is possible you could develop that, 20%. They said.
The
But
other
then they created,
of like privately owned, like,
yeah, some of it is.
how is that considered developable if it's?
Probably.
I don't
Well,
know.
Just
Yeah.
go
So, Jim,
look
let
at the that report
Yeah,
and just look for there's like
yeah, I
3 maps
remember
on
seeing
it.
it at some point, yeah.
Look at the map.
Different fact.
We're right, right, like,
I could just
Yeah.
clarify one thing, Jim.
Like
So
near you. But people later.
yeah, the one,
There's,
yeah.
It's probably on the map.
yes, sir.
Jim, can I
Hold on,
just
hold on,
follow up?
Jen, hold on 1 second.
Just because you said you were talking about there are 3 things. Is there any executive summary to use a simple, anywhere I can read about this bill without actually reading the bill?
I
mean,
have 2 things. I can give you.
Okay.
She's doing a wonderful job, by the way.
Yeah.
Explaining it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, she's, I don't know how she got so good at it, but she's
Right on
doing
the
a very
money,
good job.
But I won't retain it.
Well, yeah, there are, you read the PowerPoint, Jen, said
Yeah.
about all that was on
If
it.
you go to the website, you can see the entire legislative history, including testimony that was submitted.
Yeah, I wasn't looking, that's not what I was looking
Yeah.
at.
You're looking at the opposite of that.
And the
I'm
the
looking
Office
for
of
the
Legislative
footnote.
Research does analysis.
Yeah.
So you might see the Office of Legislative Research, their report as well, because that is what the legislature
Okay.
used. You might start.
There are several online, they vary in.
I've Googled, but I
Yeah,
haven't found
there-
any.
There are several now.
I think it would be helpful, and I'm happy to do this as I gather it, but just for us to develop a place where resources can live, where links to
I was
resources.
wondering about if there's any
Yeah.
Google Google Drive that would.
A drive or a study,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
going through your emails
absolutely.
and like trying to find
Yep.
stuff that's from Jen or from
Yeah,
Brad or.
yes,
Yeah,
I
just
will,
test
I will
yourself.
work on creating
Yeah.
that and,
That'd be great.
and, you know, we'll, once we get some information populated in there, ask if there's
Thank you.
other,
From you, thank you.
other stuff. Jen, you were gonna say something?
Sorry,
when-
Jen, yeah.
when Jim was
Well, we've
talking?
only gone over two of the three. So the first was consultancy support and guidelines in March. The second was developable land tools by July 1st. The other thing that they're hopefully going to pass down to us on July 1st of this year is the a wastewater capacity study. So people rolled their eyes at that a little bit. But
Everywhere's ledge.
We have zero
But,
capacity.
so I'm just bearing the news. So wastewater capacity study, July 1st, 2026. That is another tool, they're calling it, that will be, handed down to us. To Jim's point about like private land and what is developable land and that, I'll just give you the example of why it needs to be identified. So for instance, the parcel that was for sale that a lot of us walked around out to down off of 4 Mile River Road. And I forget that long confusing name of that other road that intersects back there, but it backed up to the land trust and it was a little wet and soggy, but there could have been like 17 kind of units of housing potentially. Jim, I think you and Fred might be, and Anthony might be the only people left that know about that, but there's a piece of property for sale. It looked like a nice piece of property for building, something. Would have taken about a mile long road, a lot of infill, a lot of things to make it work, which we wouldn't have the money for, even if we did have the money to buy it. So, because it was a private sale. So, things like that can be identified. They want identified and said, well, if only Old Lyme had the infrastructure to do this, then it would be developable land. But right now it's developable if you had $2 million to give us to develop it. So they want that documented, saying like if we had this infrastructure, if we had a sewer system that ran all the way down Shore Road from the beaches or from New London, basically all the way down 156, the Montanaro family could put 170 units of housing on the driving range. So, and that's a fact. So so things like that are stopping the Montaneros from developing that piece is they don't have sewers. So, so that those kinds of things are the things they want identified, and potentially maybe Old Lyme will get, a grant for something like that. But that's what the thinking is at OPM right now. Don't just tell us that we don't have any because it's all owned by private developers. Tell us what we could do to make it more attractive to developers to develop it. So I'll end there. That's really about it. Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, Jen, did you bump into any information? They had this goal of 100,000 units. I don't trust that. I'll tell you a second. So let's say they build 100,000 units of new housing, middle-class housing. What happens to all these other plans and communities, 400 units? I mean, once you reach that goal, we're done. Now, the reason I'm asking that question is because I believe we would complete the mission as a state, to build 100,000 units, except I just happen to see the number move to 120. So I want to know really, what are we playing with, quicksand, or is this really real? So I think these units going up so fast and furious around the state, they're going to breeze through 100,000 before everyone else. And I think you should just trigger and stop.
I would encourage you to take that up with your state senator. She's on the
I've
housing
asked so many
committee.
questions of them, and they don't have many answers for me, and I've known them for a long time.
They don't
Sure.
have any answers for Rivercog or the towns. I mean, the cost and the Rivercogs have been asking these questions ever since the bill was called 5002, which is 2 years ago. So So they haven't gotten any answers from 2 years ago, any more clarity than this. What we have right now is this Public Act 25-1, and that's what we have to work with. And they are paying consultants a lot of money to decipher what it means. And we'll get that information as we go, but it's not solvable today.
And you did a great job. I'm trying to give you some, so the new group gets a better feel and
Mhm.
understanding that these things are kind of class. And you did a great
Yeah.
job of describing.
Well,
it.
dive
Thank you.
dive into that. I mean, if you have an hour, you're cooking dinner or something, just put that YouTube video on and you can listen to it while you cook or do something else. Or that YouTube video from CCM and Cost went over pretty much what the Rivercog girl, lady, sorry, went over, Megan. She was one of the speakers, one of the 3 speakers on Friday at CCM, and she went over the same thing she went over with us. So all of that, if you just listen to that YouTube video, you'll get the gist of the most important things they think that they're talking about right now, the mandatory
CCM?
timeframes. And yeah.
The council municipality.
So we can drop that video.
Yeah, I'll drop it in there. What, is there a title for that?
I've
Jen?
already.
It's the link is in the email that I sent out.
Okay, all right. I'll include that on the document.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
They-
all the assets in
Yeah,
one place.
I will put it all in one place and,
PowerPoint slides she sent has all of that too, so
Yeah.
if you wanna just read it, that email Jen sent, the PowerPoint slides have everything she
Right.
went over.
thank you.
I find that easy.
Can I ask a question, Jim?
Sure.
The new law also provides for, these middle housing units, accelerates them on commercial zoned land. So doesn't that, number one, gonna change completely the type of calculation that each town is gonna have to make about developable land? And second, doesn't that change the whole zoning effort that's being made? So to the extent whatever one says about the whole road improvement initiative, the whole reason for that, or some people's reason at least, was to get housing in there. And that issue is now really changed or disappeared. Because
Yeah.
it's not necessary to
Well,
change
zoning's
zoning.
going through a rewrite right now,
That's
and
right.
they've been tasked from the selectmen, from my understanding, they need to incorporate this. When you read these PowerPoint slides, it tells them what they need to incorporate. And what you just talked about is one
Well,
of
it
them.
will be incorporated because the law requires it.
Yeah, they
So
have
from a
up to
practical-
like, yeah,
from a
they have
strategic point of
provisions for
view.
16 units or below, or
Nine units.
they have different,
units.
different things for different units, but they could have commercial below with
25
residential
for the
above.
housing
They,
stuff.
yeah. So there's a lot of ways that zoning could, change old Lyme zoning regulations, and they are definitely connected to Rivercog, not just on this the regional housing committee, but also on Rivercog for zoning. So there's a different subcommittee altogether in Rivercog for discussing those issues. And just so you know, our Rivercog, Rivercog is connected with at least 3 other Rivercogs right now. So they also share information between the the cogs rather, to decipher the bill or the law, the act right now, and they also sharing consultancies, et cetera. So they are trying to stay connected that way on the bigger picture, so that each cog is not going off doing the same exact thing, and we're paying 17 times for the same result. The state of Connecticut I'm talking about is not paying for the same result, but paying for it multiple times. So the cogs are connected, zoning's connected to the cog, we're connected to the cog, so hopefully all of those connections will be maintained seamlessly as we go forward. And as long as you guys stay on top of those meetings, and if there's any meetings in between as we get closer to these deadlines, there'll probably be interim meetings or special meetings, rather than just a regular monthly meeting. So those will be important to communicate back to the entire commission and to the selectmen as you see fit.
All right, thank you, Jen. That was a lot of information.
welcome.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
So, I mean, as long as we're on this general topic.
Yeah.
Someone should be the designee to attend
Yeah.
these
The monthly river
Monthly.
meetings, right?
because that person probably primarily will be the one who's interacting with, Rivercog and OPM and to, to
Mhm.
be the one to discuss what's available, what's not, and
Well, there are two people going. Mike Fogliani goes for zoning, right? And Howard Margulis goes for planning. So they
Uh,
both go to the regular meetings. And
Yeah, they
rather
go
than
to the
send somebody, it
Rivercog
might be
meetings,
possible
not
to
the
just
housing.
debrief them.
Hold on.
From our boards.
Say that again, Jen?
Howard Margulis is not on the River Cog Housing Committee. He's on something else, the River Cog one. Remember, this is the housing subcommittee. Michael went this Tuesday, because that was the topic, but he also goes to the zoning, subcommittee for River Cog. So we need a
they're open
designated
meetings, right?
voting member on the housing subcommittee. One voting person you need.
so we
Yeah.
need someone
We
from
need a
here.
regular member to attend those
Yes.
meetings and be that liaison back to us and back and forth, obviously.
It's of course, fourth Thursday,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday.
Yeah.
2
So-
PM, and they're really, really trying to hold them to 1 hour. I don't think it's gonna work, but they first meeting, they went over by 10 minutes, but but they are trying to make it work for 1 hour. Definitely you can just jump out early most of the time.
Jen, can I just say one thing through the chair?
Yeah.
This is my opinion, what's the experienced opinion. These cogs have never, ever been in housing. They're not comprised of people with housing background. They haven't done development. They're not a boots on the ground group. These are planning exercises. So they see the world through data and through hypotheticals. So they don't understand housing, coming out of the ground, the impact on the communities, the monitoring of it, the impact on services, because they don't have that experience. They just don't have the experience. I respect them from being a planning agent, and that's what they're doing, but they're not experts. I mean, they're not run housing. They don't worry about utilities, taking care of elderly, disabled people. How does that all work? Who takes care of them? So that's where they're blinded. And I don't think they've done much to remedy that throughout the state of Connecticut. So they're welcome as planners. They got good ideas, but a lot of plans
Yeah.
sit on shelves, look like a lot of dust and don't go anywhere.
So with that, is there a particular skill set then that we could use for someone to attend those meetings, to be able to see through a different lens? And if so, what are those skill sets? And if so, is there anybody who feels they have them and could take that on or piggyback with someone and maybe do every other month?
I feel like the learning curve is so steep for a new person. Maybe.
I don't necessarily think, just my 2 cents, so I don't necessarily think at this stage they're gonna be discussing much more than the implementation of this allocation for at least a year. So, so whether or not, they have, boots on the ground, get a family in a house experience, I don't think at this point in time is the main gist of it. It's really understanding the bill, understanding the timelines. There are mandatory, semi-mandatory might be later as they change things, and optional things. And once we get that breakdown of what that bill states as mandatory, semi-mandatory, and optional, then you can discuss it at this commission. But none of those include putting a family in a house or an apartment at this point in time. So I understand what you're saying, Anthony, but it's really for the next year. They have consultants who are breaking down this bill into data and analyzing the data and analyzing Old Lime's data and putting those two together somehow. And we need to be part of that conversation first.
for the chair, I'll consider it, but you know, I'm about ready to retire, so right now, I
Yeah,
don't
right.
know, but, give me a call, we'll chat a little bit about it.
Okay.
I'll consider.
So the next meeting will be February 24th. And
That's right.
2:00, you said, right?
2 o'clock, yeah. We're
On
always.
Thursday.
And where are they
Tuesday,
helping it?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, February 24th, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. And where do they take place? Forgive me.
Zoom.
Oh, it's all Zoom.
Oh, Zoom.
Yeah, sure. Oh, obviously.
Ah, okay. We don't need to talk then, right?
I got
Good.
technology. Okay. Well, I'll probably talk.
Okay, we can still talk. Thank you for that, yeah.
That makes it big.
That does make a big
It's a big
difference.
I
difference.
took that response as a yes.
We'll make it official.
Well, maybe you can be two places at once.
Yes.
That's-
Okay, thank you for that, and thank you, Fred, for keeping us on that topic to make sure that we don't lose any momentum there. Okay, so moving on to project updates.
So, McCullough. So, the McCullough project is almost ready to be submitted. The application for subdivision. The planning commission meeting is on the 12th. Our engineer says that he will submit the application on Friday or Monday. I said Friday'd be better. You know, I spoke to the town hall today. They said, well, Monday'd be okay, but Friday's better. Why it's not being submitted today or yesterday or the day before, I don't know. We have the site plan. We have a letter approving from the fire chief, which was the main thing, and he's supported the driveway and its current state. He said 15 feet wide with the turnaround without any type of supplementary water tank or anything is fine. He's completely happy with that. I think maybe he's waiting for something from Ledgelight, which is, the local sanitation authority, but anyway, it's hard to communicate with him.
Okay,
Anyway, hopefully that will happen. Okay,
okay,
that means we will be, at the 12th, they will accept the application, so it's sort of, it's here, and then it will need to go to a public hearing. So then I'll have to, notice it to all the abutters. There's 11 abutters. We'll have to be sent out, and then there'll be a public hearing, and hopefully the engineer and the fire chief and
so,
a representative as well.
Before the March meeting.
11 abutters to the.
11, yeah, because depending how you look at it, it goes to Whippoorwill.
Yeah, it goes with Whipple, right, right by it all the time, yeah.
But the properties are on the end of Flat Rock,
Yeah.
like a mile away is Whippoorwill, but they're butters.
all right, so
Yeah, see how that works out.
question that I have for you then, Fred, is, I know we got the letter from, the fire chief, right?
Yes.
That we needed,
Yes.
and we haven't seen a draft or anything from Tom
Of.
of the application
Yes, we have.
for.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
so-
we have,
So
yeah.
you said hopefully it's submitted Friday. He has to submit that? Like, how
Yes.
can we how can we light a little light under him? Is there anything that any of us could try?
So, I mean.
I mean, because it had to get in
Literally, I've
order for it
written
to go.
15 emails. to
Yeah,
Scott,
no.
All right, and he has
Yeah.
2 phone numbers. I call him, he never calls me back, I email him. I asked the surveyor
Mhm.
Yeah, if he had some secret, anyway, it's been very frustrating. He
Okay.
did have he had a he got a knee replacement in December. That was,
Mhm.
I mean, but
So we might
Even
need to,
before that.
we may need to go with someone else eventually, is what you're saying. Or what I'm hearing.
Well, I think that is a well, after we get the subdivision approved,
Yeah.
we don't need him on this project.
So we, right, so in the future, okay, so we just need him to see this through to the next planning commission meeting, which is on the 12th. And so we need him to get this in
Yeah, and then there'll be a
And go to
public
that.
hearing
Okay.
and we need him to go to that.
and we need him for that.
You know, he's very good. He's been on this for
Sure.
years. He's inexpensive, but you know, it's been a major pain in my posterior.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And,
Is there anything any of us can do to
No.
help with that between now and Friday?
no,
Okay.
you know, I always ride the,
Okay.
you know, I'm always saying, hoping that I'm not pissing him off because, you know, you can push someone hard enough, then they, you know, he never seems angry.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
But
okay,
anyway, so we have two other town-owned properties we're hoping to develop.
okay.
So I
Yes.
think when this is done, I think we should have a discussion about whether this guy is, you know, I wanna, you know, I wanna ask him, can you do this? Are you doing this?
Yeah,
What's been the
right.
holdup? And I wanna, you know, but I'm not going into all that
Sure.
at this point.
Okay,
That's the discussion later,
okay,
after this project.
after we get
gets through,
this
but
on its way, okay.
knock
So,
on wood, it should be filed this week and,
and he's aware he has to appear on the 12th. Like he's our advocate. He's the
Yes.
representative of the.
yeah, well, on the twelfth, correct me if I'm wrong, the planning commission says
They
basically,
should receive it, yeah.
there's a term of art for it, they receive it.
Yeah.
They-
Yeah, I see.
I don't know what it's.
The clock starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he'll need to be on the clock, same
Yes.
clock that they're on.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
he
this-
said, he said he's gonna be there, and then also the March meeting, because the March meeting is when, you know, we'll already have had the public comment.
Right.
And then at the March meeting, everything should be done.
You looking for a variation or special exception for the plan of
I don't
development?
remember, and here it's weird because there's P and Z.
Yeah,
we
Most
got all of that.
P and Z.
Yeah,
So now there's two, and P has no real,
well, it can,
yeah, it's very.
I was saying it's only minimal, and it can be, but a lot of people just, well.
Yeah,
It really controls the zoning. Because zoning implements what the plan says, so if you argue the plan, you will win. But people don't see that, if we live in smaller communities.
Yeah.
But the bigger communities is a big deal, the plans are a very big deal, that's why they're combined usually, you're right.
here,
So
all right,
that-
Melissa.
That reminds me of a question I had when I was reading some of this. Is there a document, overarching document with the work plan with some of these dates? When this is due or that's due or
Yeah, Tom just sent
shovel
one
on
out.
the ground? No, okay.
No,
But but now we do have real dates.
If it gets submitted.
It's still a real date, you mean.
Do you have a work product?
Yeah. that's what I was
Fred,
looking
Fred,
at.
Tom's
Work
last
product's done,
email
right?
has all of
Yes,
that.
yeah, the work product's been done.
That's what I was getting at, okay.
I think a little coffee on it here,
And I'd like to know, just for posterity's sake, none of this delay or inability to move forward is due to Fred or Jen
Oh, right.
or anyone
Of
else
course
who's
not.
been involved.
Yeah.
They're doing the best they can. It's a volunteer commission. So I just wanted that to be
Yeah.
on the record.
Absolutely.
It's been a long time.
Yeah,
We're
no,
counting.
yes, no, and please know, that was not inferred at all.
No,
It's a
I'm not
matter
saying
of
it
like,
was, just,
because of the frustration, like, can somebody take that off your plate? Can I go knock on his door? Can I love being an
no,
ad.
I mean, if we're paying him, he should be responding to emails. If he's being paid, he
Right,
should respond.
Exactly, so, but if you need us to do anything, just reach out, okay, and.
no, I've been tag teaming him with Jen, you know, I'm the annoying pesky one and Jen, I don't know.
Is he on
Jen-
the agenda? Is it on the agenda yet, do you know?
Yes.
It is, so if
Yeah.
it's on the agenda, he should
Let's don't worry
show.
about it. Tom
Yeah.
has his plan. He sent it out today. It's all good. It's just what Fred said. It's all on track for it
So it's
now.
probably gonna happen.
He's back in the game now, put it that way.
Okay. All right, so we will then, after we know that it is certain that it is happening, we should be attending this planning meeting, right?
Yeah.
We should show, right? So we'll email you once we know that it is 100% in lock.
So since I am no longer a chairperson,
Mhm.
there will be, I can't appear as a chairperson. So, there are certain things that need to, be done and signed. For example.
Sean has to be there, you're saying. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right, because otherwise,
You have to send that nice
so
document.
let you know and you'll be there. Or we can meet.
Well,
No,
we'll-
He's acting as our agent. He inherently has the right to, you know, yeah.
You are fine.
Yeah, or Tom,
Tom.
whoever the guy is,
Yeah.
yeah, acting as our agent, yeah, he's.
So can I continue to speak on behalf of the housing authority? Can I sign stuff? I mean, while I'm still commissioner, I signed the signature page of the application and sent it to Tom at his request. So
That stuff probably should be one of the chairs. But like, you can go and speak on behalf of the committee.
In the 12th, there shouldn't be any comment whatsoever. It's just a notice that we received this application, so there should be no opportunity for any of us to speak.
but the application will be signed and I signed it.
Yeah.
You already signed it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the application's signed.
all right.
Our public hearings,
So
We
we'll
understand.
email you once we know it's 100% in, and if anybody can attend that meeting, even just as a show of like, hey, we're on the commission and we're excited to move this forward.
Yeah.
We will invite you to do that. All right, I'm gonna move us along. Thank you, and thank you again, Fred and Jen, for all that work. I know it's been frustrating and you have stuck with it. And you're still in one piece. All right. Anything else on project updates?
Just as soon as this one gets done, as soon as it gets approved by the town, we'll get the attorneys, they'll draft deeds. I think I sent you copies of the memorandum between the town and Habitat. They'll build-
So I have a question about that.
Yes.
Very quick, and I want to make it brief. So Sheila and I met with Mark before the meeting to go over some things. Now, there's Habitat and then there's Hope.
Yes,
What's the difference? And who are we turning this over to?
Habitat.
Where
Hope
does
has the
come in?
there's two existing affordable housing dwellings on the driveway. These two new lots will be conveyed to Habitat.
Okay, so you had,
So,
and then they may elect to transact amongst themselves, so that one
Right.
entity owns all four,
The current Hope is
no pun intended.
two houses, existing houses that are owned by Hope, their plan is to convey those to Habitat. Because this, Hope is sort of out of the business of.
yeah,
So Martha was explaining, so she thought Habitat was out of the business.
No, she
Their
had it
houses, and I didn't
reversed.
understand what their
She had
cause
it
was.
reversed.
So we wanted to make sure this was correct, because so
Yes.
part of the timeline is that once this all gets passed, we are not gonna have time to do any of the work, nor do we want to do any of the work at this time. We have $150,000 of ARPA money.
Right, I read it.
So from Habitat, they need to give us a bill before December. So for $150,000 and outline what that's for on that property. And then the lawyers actually have to draft something up, because if they don't fulfill that, they gotta get that back.
Right, because this is just a memo of a memo of understanding. So I was wondering if there's.
So the,
This is but this is the existing most recent.
Yeah.
Legal document, okay.
but we can't just give them $150,000. They have to provide a service.
Right.
So it's putting in the driveway, the wells, whatever gets us to that 150 mark. But we have that deadline or that money goes back.
so.
That's the ARPA deadline.
Yeah.
Yes. January 1st.
Oh, December 31st.
I
One
think
day will
either
matter.
way.
It won't
Yeah,
matter.
so December 31st, it has to be
But we want to go
and
well
done. It's
before
just,
that.
we want it, we
don't
want to be
it
invoiced
rushed.
well before that, absolutely.
And Martha seems to be
He's
all,
all over that, yeah, exactly. Okay. All right, any other, so we're gonna move on to development opportunities. Is there any information to be shared in that realm currently?
I don't think there's anything, but she told us, where was that property?
Oh, she mentioned a few
there's
different.
2 other town-owned properties.
But there's one that was that went up for sale, but then it didn't sell. So now the
Okay.
town owned it,
It was, she grouped that into the Kimmich. Like it went up for auction, or went up for sale, like you said, and no
Yeah,
one
Kimmich.
purchased it.
some, like,
An additional,
nobody wanted it.
Town put it up for sale?
So it was up for tax auction and nobody wanted it. But it's only 0.1 of an acre. You
Oh,
can't.
that's the one in Town Woods, Fred, that little sliver between the
Ah.
neighbor and the neighbor wanted it.
Oh. That's.
We turned it down. We didn't want it.
oh, okay.
uh,
The
That's
neighbor
different-
ended up
that's
buying it.
Different from the 2 properties I'm talking about. That's
Yeah,
not,
I know we have those two, but then she said this other one was.
Yeah. We'll have to get clarification on that, I think.
I think, we already turned it down.
Okay. Right. She also mentioned, 92 Mile Creek is going up for auction on February 14th.
102 Mile Creek?
92
92.
Mile Creek.
It's the old, you know where Button Ball intersects Mile Creek is, that looks
Yeah.
like a little fishing shack. It's a gray house. It used to have buoys and a dog crate out front.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy died. He was renting
Yes,
it
that's it.
from the Swaneys, Legacy Swaneys, not Ron Swaney. And, he died, and so the estate of Eleanor Swaney is selling it.
It's not the one over which there's a right of way back to a 1 acre, 1.8 acre.
It's 2.2 acres.
Yeah, I know where it is. You can't believe anybody actually lived there.
Mile Creek?
Yeah.
I don't know where that is.
So, you know where
It's like a shack.
Button Ball, is it Button Ball,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Button Ball intersects with Mile Creek, dead end.
Right there,
It's
yeah.
right
I know
there
it is.
on the left, right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's a little
on the-
gray shack. It's 350 square feet
Right.
Yeah.
and it's
But-
completely unlivable.
It is, yeah. But it's a big, what's the property? What's the acreage?
2.2 acres.
Can it be built on, all 2.2?
Oh, yeah.
Wetlands or?
92?
Oh, somebody's gonna buy,
92%.
somebody's gonna buy it overpriced. They're asking 269, I think, and the
But it's going to auction now.
auction on Saturday, yeah, for the 14th,
Oh, it'll be
in New
fall.
London. State Street Auctions is doing it.
And then she said there's 102-1 Mile Creek,
Oh, yeah.
but it's more like a brownfield, needs a lot of cleanup.
Yes,
farmers
I
use it.
walked that.
Yeah, we've been there.
Not for us, no. And it's probably not buildable at all, you know,
Hmm,
but it's certainly not for us.
all right.
So, but 92 is another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you want to, like, I think what we tried to consider way back, a couple of years ago, right, even Fred, when you joined and Jim, was that, like, say this opportunity 92 comes up, 2.2 acres, you could probably put 17 to 20 duplexes there, easily. We don't have the money to buy it. Neither does Old Lyme. So like, it doesn't
Right.
matter if it comes up right now because we don't have a mechanism in town by which the town can purchase it. Somebody
Glad you
is
brought that
gonna
up.
buy that
Correct.
and develop it into private housing. There's no doubt.
No resources.
Right.
But no mechanism is more important. You have to
Correct.
mechanism before the resources.
That was correct.
Yeah.
For the new member, the commission spent for years, never dropped looking at properties or inviting people to come in. It's just when you really sit down and start studying the whole town. For buildable, and not buildable period, for affordable and buildable land, we have almost none between ledge. Between the inability to do it reasonably priced
Yeah.
septic systems and so on and so forth.
It's like
And we have no money.
dozens of acres, maybe, period.
Yeah, period.
Like,
Except the driving range. Things like the answer, I mean, that's 200 units, if you can get the driving range, I don't know how to pronounce the name. Montaneros or something?
Yeah.
Driving range?
I believe we had a
But
visit
they,
from,
they just came, whoever, came back, gave them one, we could have it over, but they were short.
Wouldn't that qualify? Because they
Hold
talk
on,
about
hold on
senior
a second.
living.
we're all having.
Hey, guys, let's have one conversation at a time, so we might be asking the same questions.
Right.
You mentioned the driving range, and you had a question, Anthony?
And Sean had a good point that they,
They were looking to be 55 and older there.
wouldn't that qualify though for affordable housing? They talked about senior, at the meeting yesterday with Martha, they talked about senior living was just as important as affordable housing for seniors. And seniors who want to downsize, so
But it
that
might not
would
be
qualify.
affordable.
Oh,
And we don't know.
Right.
right.
Might not meet that criteria.
I don't think they'll do it.
Given the income affordability, yes, there's a lot of seniors because of the high income.
Right,
Data from here that would fall into be able to buy something. So you're correct, it could meet that middle, and those are middle class housing units, they're nothing to do with really indigent people or people that are sick. So it's made for downsizing homes or firefighters and teachers, that's what middle class housing really is. So those numbers are pretty good up here, because of all lines, high incomes.
Right.
Opens up a lot.
Well, again, we're getting into like.
Yeah.
Private property, like, we have no role to tell people what they should or shouldn't do with,
No.
or can or cannot do with their.
So we can't-
Town has property, has power, you can do it, eminent domain. They don't exercise that.
No, I wouldn't bring that up at any,
All right.
any more meetings. No.
That's what happened with Pfizer, that went with Pfizer, oh man.
So I know that we have discussed, the Kimmick and I always forget the other.
Grandview.
And Grandview. I'm going to propose that for now, as we get our sea legs about us and as we get, acclimated with this, with new membership, that we do for the next 2 months, focus on, getting McCulloch like where it needs to be so that we can hand that over and then put our energy and focus elsewhere. Is that, so between McCulloch and the understanding as much as we can about new legislation, I think we have our work cut out for us for a couple of months. Is that fair? Okay, so next item would be funding opportunities. And of course, that's always going to be an important topic. And it is 6:22. I say that for you all to know. I am not shocked. I'm gonna drive Sean nuts because I'm not one to be like, okay, we're doing an hour and. But we can do that if we need to do that. I know that there will be times where we may have to meet longer. So we can talk about that now, if there's anything to discuss, or we can move it. Yeah,
There's no funding.
I make one suggestion,
Sure.
Jen might chime in. When you talk about money, probably some of the most important money is pre-development money. That is being able to go in, because we had to go to the town, spend a lot of money. Any developer knows this. You're gonna spend considerable amount of money to pre-develop it, do A1 survey maps, be able to get variances if you need it, to get approval by various departments, inland wetlands. And you need lawyers to do that. You need to come up with some design plans. So pre-development costs can be, $80, $100 or more $1,000. I mean, depends how big it is.
Mhm.
So I think that's some of the most important seed money that allows us to be able to kind of like at least put out there a piece of land that could be developed, following some plans, and then make it more attractive for a builder to come in and not need as many subsidies or be able to get it done quickly. I don't know, what do you think about that?
I'm glad you brought that up. While that is correct, I think it's very important that we're very selective with, right now we have this ARPA money, okay. There's an argument that says it's not town taxpayer money, okay. That's another discussion entirely, but once we start getting into using any town funds for any pre-development, that's another it needs to be looked at much more seriously.
Yeah.
With, okay, we're gonna spend X to develop 1 unit, or are we gonna spend X to develop 15 units? And that, when we get to that, it's gonna become a very important exercise. So,
But the state, the Department of Housing talks about that. We talk about with it all the time. So maybe state money is what I'm thinking about, not municipal money. And
That would be much preferred.
Yeah.
the state money would be much preferred.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to go after for political reasons and there's money there. That's what it's there for. They understand the importance of DOH, Department of Housing, for pre-developed money.
And I
Because
think,
you can't do anything without it. You can't move forward
No.
with anything
No,
without redevelopment.
and I think the passage of the legislation, I mean, that's the context that we find ourselves in, so that's. The state is poised, right? So we're in a better position now than we were before the legislation. This is what the state wants to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we say, you want it to happen, show us the money, show us the money.
Well, they're not too
Yeah,
good,
right.
they're not too good at doing that.
Right.
Show me the money is where the state.
Stay with education, stay with, yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to new business, and really all we have for that, would be that our next meeting, is March 4th. So, again, first Wednesday of the month, starting at 5 p.m. We will not change that time, Ross. Since you said that you might also consider the River Pog thing. And I'm kidding again.
Maybe in a
Yes,
year.
I'm teasing.
This is a long-term commitment.
Yes, it
I'm
is, and
just
it's a lot
celebrating.
to understand, absolutely,
Goes a while.
absolutely it is, and Anthony, you and I can talk later about that, that piece of it. And if you have any agenda items, anything specific that you would like to have added to that agenda, you can send those to me, I'll be the agenda keeper, any questions?
Sheila, just
Yes.
along those lines, I need to get with either you and Sean or you or Sean or whatever to just transfer over the mailbox and
Yes,
my files around the agendas and minutes and
Great.
the sort of how you do that with Vicky and the administrative office.
that would be great. That'd be great.
Yep.
It'll probably be me. Sean and I haven't really been able to divvy up
Whenever
yet,
you're
but we
ready,
will.
yeah. Whenever you're
Okay.
ready, just hit me up.
Okay, thank you.
Just before we close, the address of the two other properties, since I want to just
I think it's
drive.
like 6 other properties in total, right? Or,
Two properties comprised of many tiny little lots.
Just for fun, I'd like to.
Sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know them all.
Oh, you don't know, okay.
I'll send them to you.
Sometime, anytime.
Sure.
so.
Can I ask a new business question?
I'm sorry.
Can I ask a new business question of people who can have this? To the extent that the commission's purpose is to try to drive more affordable housing in different ways. It seemed to me, over the last year or two, that the fastest way to increase the amount of not formally affordable, low-cost housing in Old Lyme is to promote associated housing, associated units, for people who want to, increase the size of their house, take a big house, build on the property. That seems to be the kind of thing that fits with the environment that would be it would be good profits for people who want to do that or.
Talking about accessory dwelling units.
So,
Yeah,
I understand town opted out quickly from the state bill because there were people who felt that wasn't work in certain places in town. But then, there was a really impressive, I think Mastriani did a very impressive analysis of how you could take that concept of accessory housing and apply it only to the parts of Old Lyme that would really want it and support it. And it would fit totally with the existing, semi-rural. And it just sort of died. The idea that this is a way that could have a lot of support from the town, cost nothing, and actually boost the amount of housing units.
As an option for people, yeah.
Wouldn't the zoning, new zoning be looking at that?
Zoning is looking at it, like holding down was all over that issue. And
That's a really,
completely aware
really
of
good
it.
idea.
Yeah,
It's,
Really good.
it's such an easy, fast
Right.
way.
You could add hundreds of units.
Well, or
Yeah.
at least,
Why not hundreds,
Dozens,
yeah,
perhaps.
a lot, you would be able to. But
and you're doing it in ways that whatever
Right.
differences of opinion there are about affordable housing and its various ways in the community. This is something that should be supported by almost everybody. That doesn't hurt anybody, and it gives a lot of people an opportunity to either keep their children on the property or make some money or whatever.
Correct.
So why isn't that sort of a golden,
I forget how the zoning regs read. I don't know them, verbatim, line for line. I forget, does anyone know, is there a line that'll for a path for those now? I forget, or I don't propose and
no,
what?
I don't think.
I don't think so. Martha said it's on their agenda.
all they use are now special permit.
Here's the key.
Yeah.
Planning and zoning is, in my opinion, a red herring argument. Always has been for years. The statute. Politics, it's called 8-39G. That's the state statute. That's the key to the golden goose. Everyone developed knows that. Every fellow housing person. But what that basically does, it flips the relationship between the zoning commission or in the legislative capacity is reviewing applications, looking for variations, special exceptions, and the burden of proof goes to the applicant. 8-39G reverses it. So now the applicant sits in a superior position and the city has to say, why can't you build it? And I can tell you, based on court cases and practices almost throughout the state, no one even challenges it. So 8-39,
8-30, but yeah.
well, it's part of, 8-30, 8-39G is where it gets its power from, at least in my world. And what happens is that I saw a small diner in Milford that was bought up. It was a small diner and they're building 88 units of housing on like a postage stamp and the city can't stop it. So some people call it a weapon, some people call it the keys to heaven. I mean, the bottom line is that's the key, 8-39Gs, which is predicated on definitions of the state of what is affordable housing. And they have a chart. And you can see this that says what percentage of your housing units fit this state definition. And very few communities are at 10 or above percent. If you're above 10%, you're way from having to meet any more affordable housing requirements. But most people are below it. Most people are slipping further behind as a percentage. So 8-39G, which came in at the, I think, 1990, if I remember correctly, it has not been overly successful, but it's increasingly been used. And it's built some beautiful homes. I mean, I got stuff around the corner from my office. I got pictures that I show you. You say, wow, it's great. I'm going to project to that. That's the key. Too much about zoning and planning. The tool's there. And if developers want to come in and do it, you got money, you can make a lot of cash. I mean, I know what's going on. I know some of the developers in Milford, and they're just putting up stuff all over the place. You'd be shocked at where it ends up. Knock down one house, put 16 units up.
It's real, it's large, and it's in almost every community. It hasn't, I don't think, occurred here other than the 4 units, which is.
Yeah, on Shore
Well,
Road.
at any scale, no, it hasn't occurred in all.
Hasn't
But
occurred.
it will
But
soon.
you should read about that 8-30 or 32, which is the kind of or the overarching policy issue, which says that you have to meet 10% of your housing stock should meet the affordability definition as directed by the state.
We're less than 2%.
The most impactful state legislation
No, we're right
with
now.
regard to housing.
Yeah, that's common. I mean, Milford has got all housing and we're low 7s, maybe high 6s. And we used to be a little high, we're slipping behind. And part of it is that people are putting up so much housing, middle class housing, that it's the numbers, you can't catch up. You can't build your way out of that problem in most communities. Middletown is about 23+%. It's total housing stock, meet that definition. So you go to Middleton, you drive around, oh, there's all this money. Well, that's pretty high numbers, but it's a good, you've read that chart. And So that's the key.
I
So we
will
really
say
don't need to change it.
It's so important that if we really want to understand it, it would probably warrant like. Whether it's a side meeting or another
Yes.
meeting just dedicated to that topic, it's that important. A workshop.
Yeah, yeah.
Just so people can understand
Yeah.
how it's used, when it can be used, who can use it, and all that stuff. Because what you're saying is exactly true.
Yeah, and see, no, I'll put a big P in your politics. What it really does, it shifts the public's perceptions of developers being the villain and not the municipality, not their government entities like planning and zoning. That's why they use it. So they know they can't stop